for this. Yeah. This is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 in the kidney world. My girl, and say, this is. Nobody never told me I would have to deal with fusion, and that after the transplant that I could get skin cancer. Skin cancer? I don't know what this is on my skin, or I'm going to have to look at that or get it checked out. And nobody told me that I would have to deal with diabetes. I never had diabetes. Now I got diabetes. What's going on here? It's a lot to deal with. It's a lot of pills, a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm glad for the kidney and everything. It's just that, I mean, what if it fails, or what if it don't work? Or then I heard it could go to sleep. It's sleeping. I got to give you dialysis to wake it up. I mean, questions, answers, stuff, this, that, and the other. I don't know. But you know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to have to call this lady. What's her name? I know it. You know it. She know. Everybody know it. Lisa Baxter, my girl. What? Because this is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 in the kidney world. Hey, everybody. How you doing? Happy spring. Welcome to the Lisa Baxter Show. I got a fantabulous show for you. But before I start, I would like to say happy World Kidney Month. That's why I got my orange on. And I also got water. Water is very good to drink and hydrate and stay hydrated. And I also got the green color because that also represents the kidney color as well. You see orange and you see green. How about that? Well, I would like for you to pray for me and my family because my sister, Bishop Lavon Burno, went on to be with the Lord on Friday, and my family heart is very heavy with this. She was a bishop, a pastor, a mother of a church, a teacher, a healer. She loved the Lord forever. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have known Jesus myself. She did the prayer with me when I was 12 years old, and I love her. My heart to the Rochford family, my heart to the Burno family, my heart to especially her son Patrick and Robert Rochford and Milton Rochford, the bishops and pastors and the brothers, and my whole family. Just keep us all in prayer. We thank you and we love you for this time and space about my family and for my family. Now, I would like to introduce my guest. My guest, she's a beautiful person. She's a trailblazer, a hardworking woman. She's not letting her site business stop her. She's all over the place. Man, I had to run her down myself. This is Rashida Benton. She's a civic engagement organizer. She's a president and president rights advocate, okay, for the New York Vanguard chapter for the National Federation of the Blind. Boy, I can't read my own handwriting. And she's a special ed teacher. And I am so glad to have this young lady on my show. I was so happy to do a radio show with her. So welcome, Rashida. Hey, girl.
Hey, Lisa. How's everything?
Oh, I'm alive and kicking, baby. Alive and kicking.
That's good. That's good. First of all, I want to give my condolences to you and your family, and I will definitely keep you guys lifted in my prayers. I know it's
Thank
hard when you lose a loved one. It's tough.
Oh, tough, terrible.
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
know, God helps us through everything, the bad and the good and the things that you think you'll never get past or you never get over. So I do thank you so much for that. I really do. I
But
appreciate it.
out of every struggle comes strength.
Yes. And she would
Yeah.
want me to deal with this and do this, and she's proud of it. I didn't get a chance to have her. Her son was supposed to be
Hmm.
on the show, and I still yet to get him. We had some mix up with the scheduling, but God knows all things, and I'll let him grieve in peace, and whenever he
There you
wants
go.
or whenever
Yes.
he's ready, he'll do you know what's have to be done or could be done, and it's all
I
right if
get
it's
it.
not done. You know.
Yes.
So
Hmm.
now you got such a long and big title. I had to give it all to you. I didn't want to leave nothing out. I didn't want to leave a thing out. So we're gonna drive this thing. We're gonna ride right on in. That's what we're gonna do. You know what I mean? Now
Yes.
tell me about what you do. Okay.
Oh
Far as work,
man.
we're gonna go with work. We're
Okay.
gonna take this ride. Go on.
Exactly. Okay. So what I do for work right now, I'm a civic engagement organizer, and what that really means, I rally. I go into the community. My servicing area is the Bronx, New York, and unfortunately, or fortunately, because I live in Brooklyn, and I feel that I was actually blessed to work in the Bronx and selected by the universe to work in the
Mhm.
Bronx. So when
Yeah.
I got hired for the position, I was just looking for a job because as people with disabilities, it's hard. And in the field of blindness, our unemployment rate is almost 70%, which means 30% of us are in the workforce. So I was tired of the no's, 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 and I needed a yes. And I would tell myself on the way to interviews, all I need is one yes. All I need is one yes. So when I went to this agency to work, she said, the supervisor at that time, she says, I like you. You're a little too overqualified for this position. I never worked with a blind person before.
Mm.
My only response was, well, just give it a chance then. So
Yeah.
she gave me the
Right.
chance, and the rest is history. And I can honestly say that was the best decision, and she told me this, that she ever made. So I was doing early childhood when I was working there, and I was helping parents in the Bronx um, navigate the early intervention and special ed process and transitioning from early intervention and preschool special ed into school age special ed, since I am a special ed teacher. And
Yes.
the state of New York pulled the grant. The grant was around for over 30 years. And there were 14 early childhood direction centers. So we worked directly with the families. Um, and they pulled the grant. So every early childhood direction center was pulled. And my boss, he liked me, and he said, "I want to keep you." And because he liked my energy, he liked my fervor, he liked my zest, and he knows that I'm a natural advocate for disability rights. I like to look at it as equal rights for all. So,
Right.
somebody has to be the big mouth in the office, and that's me.
You
So,
ain't never lied. Come on now. Do
so,
your thing.
so this grant came through the city of New York for civic engagement. So what I do, I am the voice of the disabled community in the Bronx because
Mhm.
we don't have a voice. And this is a pivotal year. This is an election year. We have to
Yes.
do the right thing. Whatever your party is, make the right decision because as people of color and as marginalized groups,
Yes.
people with disabilities are the most marginalized group in the world, not even the country. And it's a non discriminating group.
Mm.
Anybody can be part of this group at any given moment. My
Wow.
dad, he was coming home from work in December, right around Christmas, and he got hit by an ambulance.
Wow.
Hopefully, that's a lawsuit coming through. We still waiting for the money, but
Sure
he got
know.
he got hit by an ambulance, and now in the blink
My
of an
God.
eye, he's part of this group. It can happen to anybody, and we're the under everything, underpaid, undervalued, underestimated, and undereducated. So,
Mm.
what
Preach.
I do, I go into the community, I speak to the people in the Bronx, and I get them engaged civically. I get them engaged with voting. Um, I, I I also go to the Board of Elections and I speak on the behalf of the disabled. I do advocacy with poll sites and making sure that the ADA is in compliance with these poll sites.
Wow.
And yeah, I do a lot. And right now, I just launched my national voter campaign on voter suppression, because voter
Mm,
suppression is not just for people of color and women, it's also especially for people with disabilities. So they needed a person with a disability. So that campaign just launched 2 weeks ago. We're starting it on social media, and hopefully it springboard into bigger things, because it is a national campaign. And hashtag and still I vote. Hopefully you see my pictures out there.
mm. Well, if there's any websites or you have any websites of it or about that, please feel free to say it so we can, have it posted or I can add it, within the comments. Because sometimes when I go look at the show
Yes.
after, I will add stuff in the comments or put stuff down. But if you're able to voice it or say it, give a number out, a website, a page, or something, go ahead now.
Well,
It's
here's the
your
thing.
chance.
I'm not a techie. I'm not a millennial. All right. But I was told that it is and still I vote. You can type that in, hashtag it for all of you Twitter fans, and
Okay.
look up voter suppression. And you'll see me there with I have my Shaka Khan wig on, and I'm standing in front
Mm.
of the Brooklyn
Bam!
Bridge, the
Yeah.
hair
Mhm.
blowing. I got my
Ah,
my blind swag going on. So yeah,
hey.
yeah,
That's good. You do have
yeah,
good energy and you do care about the people. That's what I love about you and had to have you. When I met my Jovan
yes,
years ago, and she told me I was, giving her some referrals about some stuff, and she told me that she know you and met you, and then she had me come speak, at your meeting, and then
yes,
I said
yes,
I have to have you, and I wanted to have you, and I wanted to have Tiffany. Tiffany had went on vacation or what
yes,
have you,
yes,
and I
yes.
understand that, but I had to have somebody from the National League of the Blind, somebody from your chapter, somebody that, because we're not the only disabilities. There's so many types
There
of
you go.
disabilities out there and so many people dealing with it. And like you said, at a blink of an eye, this can happen with, for, and
There
to
you go.
anybody. And as strong as I was
Yes,
being on dialysis 12 years, I never thought I'd have osteoporosis, never thought I'd need a walker, a brace, and a cane, and what have you either. And they do
there
treat
you
people
go.
with disabilities very different out in the street in the world. Some are very kind and helpful. Some are rude and nasty. Slam the door, won't hold the door. Don't get me started. That's a whole nother
There
show.
you
Whole
go.
day. All right. So now the thing that you do with the chapter, tell us about
Yes.
the chapter. Because I'm gonna
Okay.
dig some more, but go on now.
Yeah, you can dig, girl. So here's the
Uh,
thing. So the organization is called the National Federation of the Blind. Now, the most important part of that name is up, because it's an organization that's run for blind people by blind people. And a
yes.
lot of people get it confused, like the American Federation for the Blind, or Helen Keller Services for the Blind. And a lot of
Straighten it out.
times these disability agencies, be it spina bifida, cerebral palsy, like I can just keep naming TBI, which is
You
traumatic
never
brain
lie.
injury.
John.
They're run by people who haven't walked in those shoes. So, of is the most important word. National, I mean, is in every state, um, and it has 52 affiliates all over. And federation mean united, together. And
All
blind,
right.
that speaks for itself. So here's the thing: it's an organization that's run for blind people by blind people. And each state or affiliate has chapters, which are local chapters. So it's kind of run like the federal government, or the United States government.
Excellent.
You have the national, and then there is the state level, and then you have local. Now, local
Mm,
chapters are very important because they're like the pulse of the city in which you live in.
mm.
So we at one time we have several chapters throughout New York State, Buffalo, Syracuse, Rochester. Just got one in Elmira. Westchester County has a chapter. We have an at-large chapter, which is done on the phone, because when people here in New York, they think in New York City, the five boroughs, and Long Island, maybe Westchester. But upstate, where the jails are at, don't get me started on that one. Um,
Shonda. I know that's right.
yeah, there are a lot of small little towns. So they have an at-large chapter where they meet on the phone. We have a Greater Long Island chapter, and then in the New York City, we had one chapter, which is a New York City chapter. Now, I'm not going to get into the dynamics of that chapter, but I was on the board of that chapter for 2 years. And they liked my energy. And I said, well, you know what? I don't really care for a lot of things that I see, because I'm not solely like, I like to look at myself as a civil rights advocate, because
Yeah.
each group has a civil rights movement. African
Mm.
Americans, the rainbow community, which is called the gay community, and now the disability community. We're at the crux of a civil rights movement right now. And it's not just a blind civil rights, it's a civil rights for all people with disability. We're fighting
Right.
for integration here.
Hmm.
Hopefully, it may not happen in my time, but maybe in my grandchildren's time, that a child that uses a wheelchair or a cane can come into a job and be accepted for
Yeah.
as an equal employee as the person next to them who is not disabled. So that's
Yes.
what we're fighting for. And the
Mm.
ADA is new. Like, it just came about in 1990, which is what, 30 years old. So we
Wow.
still need some time, some work to be done before that. I mean, dare I say the word Willowbrook? People were put in
Yeah, I remember
institutions.
Willowbrook. I used to
There you
go and visit
go.
there. Yeah.
Thanks to Geraldo Cabrera,
Volunteer. Hmm.
that broke. So the National Federation of the Blind, what we do on a local level, I started my own chapter, which is the Vanguard chapter. And it's an acronym, and it stands for Visionary Alliance that never gives up and still reaching our destiny. And
Wow.
that's what Vanguard is an acronym for. So
Yeah.
and you came to our chapter. So
Loved it.
anybody who's a part of the chapter, we got to believe in the rights and abilities of not just blind people, but also people of all abilities. So, unlike this New York City chapter, I'm the president. I set the tone. I open the door for people who believes in the rights of the blind and disabled to join this chapter. So we have non-disabled people in the chapter. We have people of other conditions, because I don't like the word disability. If you break the etymology of the word disability down, this is not enabled. People with disabilities are not able, which is differently able. So I use the word
Mm.
condition, because it's
Woo,
just a
I love
condition in
that.
life
Say
that
that
we have
again.
to
Say
bear.
that louder. I'm sorry. I had to jump up in there. Say that again.
So
What?
so I never use the word disabled, because we are able. We're just differently able. You know, Men, they have a different way of doing things. Women, we have a different way of doing things. And people who have all kinds of conditions or differently able, we have different ways of doing things. So we have
Yes.
people of all conditions in that chapter, from learning conditions to spinal cord injuries to low vision and blind to people who are not
Yes.
disabled at all. As long as you
Yes.
believe in the rights of the disabled
Yes.
and you're in this integrationalist movement, you can be a part of that chapter. And you got to
My
have the
brother loves
spirit
this
to
site.
fight.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So right now we have 20 members, and we're still growing. We had 25, but everything is not for everybody. And I understand that. And, some people don't like my swag. They don't understand, because swag, I made that up as strength with a goal. So when you were at the
Yes.
chapter, you heard us say, our Vanguard swag. I mean, what's your strength? What is your accomplishment for the
For the
month?
goal.
And,
Come on now.
yeah, we're all on different levels. Me, I have a master's degree. I'm a single parent. I have two children. I'm doing
Yes.
it. But
You are.
I also
You are.
understand that people, I accept people, because I've lived many lifetimes and I'm an old soul, and I understand that we all come here on different levels, even in this game of disability or conditions. So just somebody walking the dog independently by themselves is part of their swag or strength with a goal. Everybody, one of our chapter members, she's going for her doctorate. That doesn't discount the
Beautiful.
person who walked the dog for the first time by themselves. So when you come through the doors of that Vanguard chapter, there's a feeling of unity. There's a feeling of love and comfortability. We might tease each other, but at the end of the day, it's
You
family.
don't know. I
And
sure
we
y'all.
support
Y'all a
each
real
other.
family. Y'all a real family up in there. Rashida, how did you
Yes.
lose your sight, love?
Well, here's the thing. I was born in 74, so that's showing my pure age.
I
But
ain't mad at you. Come on now.
so when it's interesting. So when I was born, my mother didn't know that my umbilical cord was wrapped, because I was kicking and screaming to get out here. So I was born in 10
Mm.
minutes. And they, you got a girl, they snatched me off and they ran off. And my mother knew she had a girl, but she didn't know the condition of the daughter. And at that time, they weren't really doing sonograms, I was told. And when she found out, like when she came to see me in neonatal, I was pushed off
Mhm.
to the side. I had the light on me, and she said my eyes were blood red. So she said, "Some, what's wrong with the baby?" Oh, the cord was wrapped. Now, 3 months later, I have an older sister and a younger brother. I'm the middle child. I'm the quintessential middle child
Mhm.
and the rebel of the family.
Yeah.
So my sister, she noticed that I wasn't tracking, which is following, like eye movement that babies do. Took me
Oh
to
yeah.
the pediatric ophthalmologist. They said the baby's blind. My mother, she shed her tears because, let's speak about the reality of disability. You have to mourn the loss of that healthy child and
Mm.
accept what you have. And
What?
it's,
Woo.
yeah, so
Happy
you
mother. Go ahead. Mm.
so it's almost like it's an essay that was written. I don't remember who wrote it. Welcome to Holland, and it's about you know a pregnancy of a woman who's expecting and planning a trip to Italy, and that's the healthy pregnancy.
Yeah.
But when she landed, she realized she was in Holland, and she had to realize that even though Holland doesn't have the Leaning Tower of Pisa, it also has Rembrandt and windmills, and Holland might be
Oh
a
yeah.
slower pace, but you can still
Yes.
enjoy Holland. So as an educator, I allow and I tell my parents, you have to mourn that loss. Go through the stages of bereavement, which is what my family did, and then it's time for acceptance. And for years, they just realized, they noticed that, okay, this baby's not blind. She can see some things. We don't know. So for years growing up, all through school, I was mainstream, which is pretty much, I went to a resource room one period a day, and then I was in the gen ed classroom and received services like that. And I at that time I had night blindness and I had a peripheral loss, which is to the side and up and below, not central
Yeah.
vision.
Hmm.
And I had a peripheral loss, and that's what made me legally blind because the peripheral loss was 20 degrees or less. It was about 10 degrees.
Mm.
And until I was about 26, I didn't know I didn't have a name. It was just I just can't see well. That was it. And due to miracle of modern science and some testing, they found out that I had congenital retinitis pigmentosa. And
Mm.
congenital means at birth because I never had normal vision. I've always had night blindness. And that's why if it's dark, okay, yeah, I'm not going to track movement. But if I'm outside and it's sunny and bright, some people have traveled with me and I'm not even using my cane. For
Mm.
years when I was in
What looks like?
college and in
Yeah.
grad school, I didn't use a cane. And now some people would see me and they say, "What happened to you?" Nothing, I've been me, But
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
way retinitis pigmentosa works, so it's pretty much a deterioration of one of the layers, and I'm not going to get too technical, but it's a deterioration of one of the layers in the retina, um, and one of the layers in your retina. And
Wow.
so what
Wow.
happens, you notice like people peripheral vision, it starts getting smaller and smaller like this. So
Hmm.
depending on the type of RP, we call it a retinitis pigmentosa. Some people go blind, some people doesn't. It just depends on the strand. Some people have RP, so they may be born with normal sight and then they start losing it in late adolescence or early adulthood. Me, it
Wow.
wasn't like that. Now, as after I had my last daughter, which is
Hmm.
common for people with retinal disorders, my vision
Yeah.
got way worse.
Mm.
And my field got a lot smaller, and I'm kind of looking through the world through foggy eyes right now. And that happens because any woman who's had children, they know, like, you know, pregnancy will wear and tear on your body, especially the weakest part. And just happened, I got the
Sure.
luck of the draw with, weak retina, and there you go. So whether I
That
go
had to
blind
be
or
a
not,
challenge
I
too.
don't know.
Excuse me.
Did
That
it?
had to
I
be a
mean,
challenge. Being pregnant and having sight impaired and even having children. How hard was that taking care of your infants and stuff? What process was that, if you don't mind saying?
no, girl, I'm an open book. Well, it's funny
So
because
am I. Bam. Yes. Mhm.
the pregnancy, I was more concerned about the alopecia, which is the hair loss, than the vision. I
Okay.
was 30 years old. I was pregnant from a rapper in air quotes.
Mm-hmm.
And I already knew from the gate, Houston, we have a problem. Like, you're in this fight by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't looking to have children. I mean, I wanted a marriage and children, not children and then dot, dot, dot. Because, I wasn't raised like that. Southern family, Baptist Southern
Yeah.
family, this was a glitch in my matrix. But, I just try to make the best of it. And he loves his daughters. I'm not going to take it from him, but he's not
Beautiful.
100 every day. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, and he would beg to differ when he see this video, but whatever. I call a spade a spade. So
Well,
I already knew you're in for the long haul by yourself. And when I was pregnant with my oldest daughter, Asha, he was very supportive. Even with my baby girl, Bria, very supportive. He's sighted. And the beautiful part about him, he doesn't see me as a disabled woman. He sees me as a woman with a disability. And it's a big
all
difference.
right.
Like, I'm not disabled. So there were times when I would need his help for things, and he'd go, "You got it." Or he would forget, which is so funny that,
Yes.
oh, you didn't see this,
Yeah.
and
Oh
that's a
my goodness.
testament to who he is and to who I am. And
Yes.
so when I would go to the doctor, it was kind of disheartening. We were excited about, this is his first child. This is my first child. He's hoping
Yes.
for a boy. I'm hoping for anything healthy. And
Yes.
he's peeping at the sonogram. Oh, it's a girl. You see it? And I'm laying there like, okay, I missed that moment. you know?
You done told you what it was and everything, huh? All the
Yes.
surprises.
But he's
Oh,
he's great at description. So he would say, "Oh, she got little toes and she got a little nose like you," and that kind of thing.
oh,
And
that was
it
sweet.
didn't. No, he's good with that. He
Mm.
the thing is, I noticed it that I was in a whole new world when I had my daughter. I had a C-section. I was in labor for about 5 days
Wow.
because I had fibroids, and that's why I said, okay, I might not be getting pregnant, and it's good.
Yes.
And so when they brought the baby to me, I noticed there was a sign on the door. Now I had good insurance, and I was working for Social Security. I was working for the federal government. I had Blue Cross. I had my private room,
Come on
and
now.
but the thing is, people were laying on cots in the hallway, and I'm sitting there with a private room. And I said, somebody can come in
Ooh.
here. And then the lady said, well, no, because they have Medicaid and you have Blue Cross. And that was like a total mind blowing, eye opening experience.
See, there's
So
your first one right there about
there
disabilities
you
and
go.
the prejudices of
There
it
you
and the
go.
pitiful.
There
Yes.
you go. There you go. And so I had a fall risk sign on the door. And I said, why is that up there? Like, I know how to walk. Oh,
Yeah.
mommy, don't get up. And, I was in labor 4 or 5 days, C-section, um, 2 transfusions, weak.
Shonda. Mm.
Girl, the door opens up. Everybody and their mama walk in there. No panties
Uh,
on. I got those little cups on my legs so I don't get blood clotted.
ooh. Mm.
And I just want to be alone. But what I didn't know is that the social worker was asking questions to the family. Who's going to be here with this baby? Who's going to take care of this baby? So the family got together and they said, well,
Wow.
we got to let them know that there's people here. So they
Mm.
was standing room only. First day of a baby being born, big old pad on, dripping. I'm tired, I'm weak,
My
I'm
goodness.
shaking. And I'm
Yes.
wondering, why are these people here? I didn't know that they weren't looking at me as a parent. I would go to the doctor with my baby, and they're asking me, or they're talking to other people, like
Like
my
you not
niece,
sitting there.
who's eight. I'm not sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
Yeah.
sitting there. Or they talking to my little cousin. At that
Mm.
time, she's 15, 16 years old, and I'm like, why are you asking her? She's 4, she's 16. Or
Yeah.
so you get that kind of discrimination as a parent. When you
Wow.
go to I'm going to the doctor and I need help to fill out the forms. Don't you come with somebody? And it kind of makes you, but you got to have a strong outer shell. And I look at everything as a teachable moment. So when I
Yes.
am
Yes.
going places with my girls, and they'll say, well, tell mommy this. My girls are trained right now to say, she can hear you speak to her.
I know
Now,
that's right.
As they've gotten older, I will say, and I explained it to them. I said, I need your help. I let them know, like, they love Disney World. What kid doesn't? So we'll go
Right.
through Orlando International Airport. Anyone who's went through there, it's super big. You need a train to connect and all kinds of stuff. So
Sure you do. I've been there.
I'll tell them, listen, I need you to do sighted guide right now. Sighted guide is when you walk a couple of steps ahead and you hold the arm of the
Mm,
person and
yeah.
they're guiding you. So I'll say, I need
I
you to
did
do
that with
sighted
my
guide.
brother. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Mm,
And I'll tell them, I need you to look for the SeaWorld sign. I need you to do this. Get off your phone. And they'll do it. When we get to where we're at, they'll start listening to their phones and being kids again.
mm,
They will, like, there are times when I'll tell them, um, I need you to come with me. I need to fill out some paperwork. And they'll do it. Now I'm not keeping them out of school. So,
right.
but because I don't think a parent
Mm,
should let
mm,
your condition be your child's condition. At the end of the
mm.
day, you're the parent. I say I'm the HBIC in here. I'll say I'm the queen bee, and you're just in this hive. so,
Woo.
so they, and you met my daughter. You know
Well,
she's
they listened to
very.
you.
She listens.
Yes.
They have no choice.
And they helped you tonight. She helped you tonight to help us to get the show going. So I definitely not mad at her. Now let me interject for a second. Um
Sure.
you know anything about kidney failure disease? Because Jovan is the one that connect me and you. And I know I was in dialysis with her. We both got transplants and stuff like that. So I know you something rubbed off on you. So what do you know anything about dialysis or kidney disease or transplant? Just a little something that you might know, because it's a 30-minute show. I'm going to have
Hmm.
to end. We do got another show
Yes.
after this, but this has gotten so rich,
Yes.
so deep, and so delicious. I don't know what to do.
I'm sorry. I'm a natural born talker.
So am I.
What I
They got to
know,
put tape on me
I
sometime. I ain't mad at you.
I do know some things about kidney disease and how debilitating it can be. Like, I know that if it's not checked, it can definitely lead to, like, what they call end stage renal, and that they do give automatic Social Security benefits for that because it can be, I
Oh
hate to
yeah,
say it, it can be deadly.
really.
Javon has taught me a lot about kidney
That's my
disease
baby.
and
Mhm.
transplant, and it's funny because it's almost like when you have just say you got like a Nissan Maxima, and then you don't notice Maximas until you got one. Now everybody got the same green Maxima that you got. It's like
Mm,
that. So after I met Javon, I started running into so many people. As a matter of fact, one of my besties who lives in Florida, she had a double transplant due
mm,
to diabetes, a kidney and a pancreas transplant. Another
mm,
chapter member, he wasn't there that day, and I've been friends with her since '06. He had what we call the two for, a kidney
mm,
and a pancreas transplant due to diabetes. Um, I know that it's tiring, and I know that it's taxing on the body to take dialysis 3 times a week, and that the key to this is just health, stress, healthy eating, and just having just being stress free. I mean, and having a positive mind and positive outlook, keeping your eyes on the prize, and hopefully one day that kidney will come through. I do know that certain states, based on a demand, there's a longer waiting list than others. Like New York has one of the highest or the longest waiting list in the country,
mm.
which is kind of sad.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah,
lot of us here, and more than people. You got more than one list out there. That's the good thing. And then you got so many people
yes,
here, so many people that already live here and have moved here. Also. So I guess it's big, and it definitely can grow. If you
it can.
can say anything to somebody that was visually impaired or just lost their sight, what would you say to them, sweetie?
I would just say there's life after blindness. That's it. Because um just there's life after blindness. This is the most crucial sense. This is how we take in 90% of our information about the world. And to lose it, it's almost like you're cutting off. This is how people feel initially. You're cutting
Mm,
off 90% of your life. And that's not the case. So organizations like the National Federation of the Blind and American Council of the Blind, that's another self-interest group that's run, for blind people, by blind people. These agencies are out there and, get involved with NFB, ACB for this mentorship. Each one teach one, each one reach one. I can't
that's
teach you
right.
about being a man because I'm not a man. but I can teach you about being a blind person because I'm a blind person. And my
Mm.
swag game is through the roof.
Woohoo! Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Woohoo! Tell it. Reach them now. Reach them. This is
Yes,
what I'm
yes,
talking about. And
yes,
tell them about your future plan because you got an excellent idea for a future
yes,
plan that you and I are going to be working on together.
yes. So I have a future plan. Me, Jovan, and a couple of other my sassy vixens. So a
Uh-huh.
sassy vixen is a strong, intelligent, educated woman, with a twist of naughty and niceness there. So we call those
Uh-huh.
sassy vixens.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of times when people, women especially, become disabled, we feel like our sex appeal is lowered. And
Mm.
so with me and my sassy vixens,
Yes.
we are thinking about where we are because I'm claiming it. We're going to start our own YouTube show such as this, and it's going to be like the red table for women with disabilities, and we're going to sit around and talk relevant issues. As women, we all have the same problems: men, money, life, jobs, children. But as women with disabilities, we just roll those lemons a little differently to make lemonade. So
All
that's
right.
what we're going to talk about. And I'm also, hopefully, God willing, inshallah, I'm claiming it 2021 because this corona thing is messing with me right now. Starting a not-for-profit agency for women with disabilities, and it's a referral and support services. We're doing self-esteem building and do educational services, support, employment, and referrals and socialization.
That is
So just
something else.
stay tuned. Yes.
Mm. You are a trailblazer. You are a
I try,
trailblazer. And
girl.
I appreciate you being on the show. I thank you for keeping your word. I thank you for
Yes.
being a strong woman. You know, this is Women's Month. My hat off to
This
you
is.
and
This is.
everything.
Yes.
And, I bow. I hit you with the blessed wand right there. You already hit the ground running. Thanks for being on the show. There's any person that you want to give a shout out to because I'm about to end it.
I want to give a shout out to all my Vanguard chapter members, all my Sassy Vixens, and all my ladies of Vanguard. Vanguard, stand up. We meet every first Saturday of the month. Hit me up on my Facebook page, NFB Vanguard chapter of New York, and follow me on Twitter and go out and vote. Make your voice
Mm,
heard. Mm-hmm.
wow. Mm-mm-mm. I ain't mad at you. Well, thank
Yes.
you so much. Bless your life. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm very proud of you. Keep on going, girl. Keep on going.
I'm going
So,
to try, girl.
good night and
Good night.
many blessings. Okay.
You too. Yes.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Well,
Bye.
you guys have heard it. You have heard my beautiful guest. You've seen what she can do. See, it's hope for all of us. You understand? No matter what you're dealing with, what you're going through, you can do it. You can make it. Be safe with this coronavirus thing. Listen, be wise, have wisdom, and many blessings. See you next week on the Lisa Baxter Show. Mwah.
Y'all ready for this? Yeah.
This is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 and the kid me one. My girl, and say, this is